They say history is written by the victors. But what of the defeated, the damned, the ones crushed beneath the wheel of an indifferent cosmos? What of the truth, too terrible to utter? The story whispered only in the darkest corners of forgotten libraries. Tonight, we peel back the veil of triumphant narratives to gaze upon the forbidden, the unspeakable. We speak of Oedipus Rex, a name synonymous with horror, a legend that rips at the fabric of sanity itself. Prepare yourselves, for this is not merely a tale of ancient kings and queens, but a chilling testament to a truth so profoundly cursed it echoes through time, demanding that we confront the terrifying question: is destiny truly inescapable? Before the man, there was the prophecy, a chilling whisper from the oracle of Delphi to King Laius and Queen Jocasta of Thebes. Their newborn son was fated to slay his father and couple with his mother. A curse so monstrous, it twisted the very concept of lineage into a grotesque mockery. Terror gripped the royal couple, driving them to an act of desperate cruelty masked as mercy. The infant, his tiny ankles pierced and bound, was abandoned on the desolate slopes of Mount Cithaeron, left for the elements, or the wolves, to silence the dreaded prophecy forever. But fate, a hunter far more cunning than any beast, merely changed its path, not its prey. The illusion of escape was merely the first, cruel jest. Yet, the child survived. Discovered by a shepherd, he was carried to Corinth, a kingdom far removed from the shadowed curse of Thebes. There, named Oedipus, meaning swollen foot, from his childhood trauma, he was raised as the beloved prince, son of King Polybus and Queen Merope. Years passed under the warm sun of prosperity. But a subtle chill, a persistent whisper, began to haunt Oedipus. Rumors, born from drunken slurs, questioned his true parentage, gnawing at the edges of his assumed identity. Driven by this unease, he sought the oracle of Delphi, desperate for answers. Instead, he received not clarity, but a renewal of the very curse that had shadowed his birth. He would kill his father and marry his mother. Believing Polybus and Merope to be his true parents, Oedipus fled Corinth, a fugitive from a fate he believed he could outrun. His flight was a desperate plunge into the unknown, a headlong rush towards the very darkness he sought to avoid. On a narrow, dusty road, where three paths converged, Oedipus encountered a small retinue, led by an arrogant old man in a chariot. Pride, fueled by fear and the weight of the prophecy, clashed with the entitlement to power. Words exchanged, blows followed. In a fit of righteous fury, or perhaps a primal, unthinking terror, Oedipus struck down the old man and his guards, leaving them lifeless in the dust. He left them there, never looking back, never knowing the true identity of the man whose blood now stained his hands. He had, in that brutal, fleeting moment, unknowingly fulfilled the first horrific arm of the prophecy. Laius, king of Thebes, his true father, lay dead by his son's hand, and the noose of destiny tightened, unnoticed. Oedipus continued his journey, the memory of the crossroads fading into the background of a more immediate terror. He arrived at Thebes, a city suffocating under the tyranny of the monstrous Sphinx. Her riddle, a venomous whisper of despair, claimed lives daily, leaving the city paralyzed by fear and grief. Oedipus, emboldened by a fatalistic courage, confronted the beast. With intellect sharper than any sword, he answered her enigmatic query, shattering her reign of terror. The Sphinx, defeated, hurled herself from her rock, her scream echoing the demise of a nightmare. Thebes, delivered from its torment, hailed Oedipus as a savior. In their gratitude, they offered him their vacant throne and the hand of their widowed queen Jocasta. The threads of fate, so painstakingly woven, were now irrevocably tangled, binding Oedipus to a horror beyond imagining. Years passed, marked by prosperity and the laughter of children. Oedipus ruled Thebes with justice and wisdom, beloved by his people. But a new darkness descended upon the city, a creeping pestilence that withered crops, slaughtered livestock, and claimed human lives in its suffocating grip. Thebes was plagued, a body sickened by an unseen internal corruption. Oedipus, ever the devoted king, sent his brother-in-law, Creon, to consult the oracle once more. The message returned, chilling and clear. The plague would only lift when the murderer of King Laius was discovered and expelled from the city. Oedipus, blind to his own truth, swore a solemn vow to uncover the culprit, to bring justice to Thebes, and in doing so embarked on a relentless, agonizing descent into the very heart of his own damnation. The prophet Tiresias, with his sightless gaze, hinted at the horror, his words like venom, but Oedipus, in his arrogance, dismissed them. The investigation began, a relentless pursuit of a ghost, slowly, agonizingly converging on the living. Witnesses were brought forth, their fragmented memories piecing together a mosaic of unspeakable truth. The lone survivor of the Crossroads massacre, an old shepherd, was summoned, his terror palpable. Jocasta, now queen and wife, sensed the impending catastrophe. Her attempts to calm Oedipus, to dissuade him from his relentless quest for truth, became increasingly desperate, her words laced with a growing, sickening dread. As the shepherd's testimony solidified, describing the very encounter Oedipus remembered with a cold clarity, the pieces clicked into place for Jocasta. The realization, a crushing wave of horror, washed over her. Her husband, her king, the father of her children, was her son. The grotesque truth, a serpent that had coiled silently for years, had finally struck, plunging her into an abyss of despair. She fled, her screams echoing the unraveling of her world. Oedipus, still grasping at the last vestiges of denial, pressed the shepherd until every detail, every agonizing truth was laid bare. The child abandoned on Cithaeron, the pierced ankles, the rescue, the journey to Corinth, the crossroads, the murder of Laius, the Sphinx, and finally, the marriage to Jocasta. The prophecy, a monstrous force, had devoured his life, leaving nothing but ashes. His identity, his love, his entire existence, a grotesque parody orchestrated by a cruel, indifferent fate. He found Jocasta in the royal chambers, her body swaying from a makeshift noose, her final act a desperate escape from an unbearable reality. The sight shattered him. With a guttural cry of anguish and self-loathing, he tore the golden brooches from her gown, the very pins that had adorned her as queen and wife. And with those sharp, gleaming instruments, he plunged them into his own eyes, again and again, blinding himself to a world he could no longer bear to see, a world that had become a monument to his own unwitting abomination. Blinded, disgraced, and utterly broken, Oedipus pleaded for exile. His presence, he knew, was a blight upon Thebes, a living embodiment of the unspeakable. His curse had seeped into the very soul of the city, and only his removal, his self-imposed purification, could offer any hope of cleansing. Accompanied by his loyal, sorrowing daughters, Antigone and Ismene, he embarked on a life of wandering, a sightless beggar guided by the hands of his innocent children. He became a cautionary tale, a living, breathing testament to the futility of fighting fate, the terrifying power of hidden truths, and the devastating consequences of ignorance. His screams, his anguish, the very echo of his self-mutilation, were a constant, chilling reminder that sometimes the greatest horrors are not those inflicted by others, but those we unknowingly bring upon ourselves. Oedipus Rex, not merely a myth, but a chilling mirror reflecting the fragility of human knowledge, the insidious nature of destiny, and the profound terror of forbidden truths. His story, often sanitized, stands as a stark testament to the idea that some truths are too monstrous to comprehend, too devastating to bear. It reminds us that history is often a grand narrative of triumph, but beneath the surface, in the shadowed corners of human experience, lies the 8th chapter, the unsettling chronicle of those who dared to look into the abyss, only to find it gazing back. It is a story of psychological horror, of a man utterly destroyed by forces beyond his control, a testament to the idea that sometimes the most profound curses are not those spoken aloud, but those woven into the very fabric of existence, waiting to unravel us all.